Good morning, students. In this video, the next topic in Unit 4, SQL constraints we are going to discuss. Okay. Constraints. What are the constraints? Constraints are nothing but rules and regulations that are imposed on columns on the tables to restrict whatever data we are going to store on the columns in the table. Okay. The main purpose is to ensure data integrity and correctness of data. Okay, let's discuss SQL constraints. Constraints are rules and regulations for the data in the table. Okay, those are applied on the columns while creating tables. While creating tables, the main important purpose is to ensure correctness of data and to ensure integrity of data, to ensure and to limit what type of data that go into the table. Okay, so this feature enables accuracy and reliability of data into the table. Okay. This feature is very important. Constraints. Why? Because already we know that the table contains table is intersection of rows and columns which contains a collection of records. Okay, so you must you must ensure the correctness of data while storing the data into the database tables. It's very important. Okay, in order to yield correct results, we have to avoid the wrong entries or wrong data into the tables. So for that purpose, SQL introduced one of the important concept, SQL constraints. Constraints can be defined at basically constraints are two types. Actually, constraints are applied on columns while creating the tables. Constraints can be defined at column level or table level. Okay, so in both levels we can define the constraints while creating the tables. The first of all, the column level constraints. These constraints applies on individual column. Okay, that means the rules those are applied to single column at a time. Okay, so when do you define these constraints on the columns? Okay, these constraints are defined along with the column specification in the create syntax. So what is the create syntax? Create table, table name, column name, data type, size. Okay, so after the specification, immediately after the specification of each column, okay, you can mention the constraint. Just see the syntax. Create table, table name, column name 1, data type, size, constraint name, okay, column name 2, data type, size, constraint name, okay. Likewise, after every column specification, if you want to, if you can apply whatever constraint you want, okay. Okay. So coming to the table level constraint. So table level constraints are used to apply constraints or rules on one or more columns. Okay. So actually if you apply the constraint on single column, just you go through the uh, column level constraints. Of course, in table level constraints also, we are used to apply single level used to apply constraint on single column or more columns. Okay, that means the constraint applies on more columns at a time. One single constraint can be applied on a combination of columns. Okay, so when do you define these constraints in the create syntax? This constraint is applied at the end of all columns specifications in the create syntax. Okay, just see this syntax. create table, table name, column 1, data type of size, column name 2, data type of size, column name and data type size. Okay, after uh, at the end of all specifications of all columns, okay, just we used to create the table level constraints on the columns. Okay, just after that, at the end of all specifications, we can write like that: constraint name, okay, and next constraint type, okay, and next one column 1, column 2. So whatever, how many columns you want to apply this constraint, this you can write. Okay, comma, constraint name, constraint type, constraint name, constraint type, column 1, column 2, like that. Okay, so just see this syntax. In this syntax, we can put some of the names in the square brackets. Okay, those are optional. Okay, so just see the syntax: constraint and constraint name are optional. Okay, so if you can also provide a name to the constraint. Okay, so without name also you can create. So what is the use of constraint name? If you create a constraint name to each constraint, it's very easy to drop constraints whenever you don't want that constraint, you don't want to need that constraint. Okay, so to alter the constraints or to drop the constraints, to especially to drop the constraints, we require constraint names. Otherwise we cannot drop the constraints. Simply you can remove that column only. Okay, so that's why it's preferred to keep constraint name with the each and every constraint. Okay, okay. So next, coming to the types of SQL constraints, there are 6 types of constraints. Okay, to ensure data integrity or correctness of data into the columns of table. Okay, coming to the first, not null. Not null ensures the column cannot have the null value. Okay, why? Because each value in the column should have a value. It doesn't accept the null value. Okay, then you can use not null constraint. If you don't want to enter null value in that particular column, okay, then you can use not null constraint. Coming to the unique constraint. Unique constraint means it ensures all the values in the column are different. Okay, only it allows different values in that column. It doesn't allow repeated values in that column. Okay, it ensures unique constraint. And next one is primary key. Primary key means a combination of not null and unique constraint. It does not accept repeated values and it does not accept null values in that particular column. Okay, coming to the foreign key. Foreign key is used to establish a link between two tables. Okay, and refers only its corresponding primary key values. Okay, it allows to insert only the its corresponding primary key values are null values. No other value allows to insert in the primary key column except the no other values allows to accept except its corresponding primary key values. Okay, and coming to next, check constraint means ensures all the values in the column satisfies a specific condition or not. Okay, for example, in salary, the minimum salary for all employees are 10,000. So compulsory the entries in the employees are greater than or equal to 10,000. Okay, likewise, if you want to limit the entry of values into the column, you can put conditions by using the check constraint. Coming to the default constraint, sets a default value for a column where no value is specified. Okay, You can also provide a default value. If you if you don't enter that particular value in that column, by default it can store the default value. Okay, that's why that means you can provide a default values for column also. Okay. Okay, just see this once see this syntaxes to add constraint of the table creation. We can use alter add command. Already we learned all these commands, alter commands in DML statements. Okay, DML commands: alter table, table name, add, constraint name, constraint type, and constraint condition. Okay, and to drop the constraint, we can use alter with drop, alter table, table name, drop constraint, constraint name. Okay. Coming to the not null constraint. So constraint means actually in every column it allows null values by default. Okay. So when you apply not null constraint on the column, it does not allow null values in that particular column. Okay. That means you should enter value in each and every record in that particular column. Okay, it does not accept null values. Okay, and this constraint is applied on the column level. Okay, this constraint is not applied on the table level. That means this constraint is applied on applies on only single column at a time. Okay, just see the syntax: create table, table name, column 1, data type of size, and after that you can write not null. Okay, there must be a space between the not and null. Okay, just remember that thing. And comma column name to data type of size not null. Okay, just you remember this constraint is applied at column level only. Okay, just see this example: create table emp, employee number 5 not null, e-name varchar 2 of 25 not null, salary number of 5. There is no constraint for salary column. Okay, just applied not null constraint for employee number and e-name. Okay, so every employee should have employee number and every employee should have employee name. That's why I don't want to accept null values in that particular columns. Okay, so to add not null constraint on existing column. Okay, so in our table salary column is there but no constraint for salary column. So I want to add not null constraint after creation of table. So what is the syntax? Alter table, modify old column name, data type of size not null. Okay, just see this: alter table empcrr, modify sal number of 5 not null. Okay, that means here for salary column also we can apply not null constraint. Okay, after creation of table. This is the way how to add not null constraint to a existing column in a table. Coming to the unique constraint. So unique constraint means this constraint only accept unique values in that particular column. It does not accept repeated values, but it accepts null values. Okay, and also this constraint helps to identify each and every row in the table. Okay, and we can apply this constraint at column level and table level also. And one more thing is you can apply more constraints on one single column also. You just remember. Okay, and also you can create those constraints at the table level and at the column level also. Okay, some of the constraints you must create at table level and some of the constraints you must create at column level in the single create command. Okay, just remember these 2 points. And the syntax at column level. So column level, create table, table name, column name 1, data type, size, and next of all you have to specify the unique. So what is the constraint? Unique. So you can use the constraint type unique, UNIQUE, unique. Okay. Or comma, column name 2, data type, unique. Okay, likewise. Of course, for this column 1 and column 2, uh, you can apply other constraints also, like not null, primary key, whatever. Okay, that means in a single column you can apply more constraints also if you need. Okay, some table syntax at table level. Just see this: create table, table name, column name 1, data type, size. Okay, so not null. Not null can be applied at only column level only. Okay, not at table level. That's why I used to write there. And column name 2, data type, size, not null. Okay, after specification of at the end of all column specifications, we can create like this: constraint, constraint name, unique, column 1, comma, column 2. Okay, in how many columns, on how many columns you want to apply the unique constraint, you need to write all columns. Okay, if you want to apply on a single column, just you can write a single column. Okay, you want to apply unique constraint on more columns, then you can write those columns. Okay. Okay, so one more thing you must remember: when you provide the constraint name, if you provide constraint name to the constraint on the column, it's very useful to drop constraints later if you don't want to, uh, if you want to remove that constraint on the column. Okay, just go through these examples: unique constraint at column level and table level. Okay, just see this. I want to create a student table, serial number, student number, student name, and DOB. Okay, so number of 3 and not null. And I want to apply the unique constraint also at column level. Just you need to give a space and you need to write unique constraint, unique keyword, UNIQUE. Okay, okay. So that means in this column, just we apply how many constraints? 2 constraints. One is not null and next one is unique. That means in this column, it doesn't accept null values and it doesn't accept repeated values. Okay. And coming to name, varchar 2 of 15, 55, not null, DOB, date. Okay. Okay. So this is how we are creating a unique constraint at the table level. Of course, this constraint can be applied on more columns if you want in that table also. Okay. And coming to example for table level constraints. Okay. This is without, this is with the constraint name. This is without constraint name. Okay. Just see this difference. Okay. So create table students, serial number, not null, s name also not null, DOB, date. Okay, constraint, constraint name stu underscore uq. Okay, and space, unique. I want to apply the unique constraint on 2 columns, serial number, comma, s name. Okay, of course in table level also you can apply unique constraint on single column. Okay, one thing you remember: if you apply the constraints on, if you create the constraints on table level, then you can provide constraint name to each constraint. It's very useful. Okay, so without constraint name also you can create the table level constraints. Okay, so constraint name, this is an optional. So without this also you can create unique constraint on more columns. Okay, just see this difference. So without constraint and constraint name, you can simply create unique constraint on 2 columns. Okay, if you want you can apply in single column also at both column level or table level. Okay. Next, Adding unique constraint to a column. How do you add a unique constraint to a column? So constraint alter table, table name, add constraint name, unique, column name 1, column name 2, like that. Okay. So defining unique key constraint on a single column. So how do you apply unique constraint on a single column? So alter table, table name, add. Okay, here the constraint name are optional. So add unique SN. Okay. So defining a unique constraint on multiple columns with the constraint name. Okay. So alter table, table name, add constraint u underscore stud unique snvo comma s name. Okay. And also to drop the unique constraint, alter table, table name, drop constraint name. Okay, so without constraint name, you cannot drop the constraint of a column. Okay, so that's why it's preferred to create constraint names to constraints. Okay. So alter table students drop constraint u underscore stud. Okay, it's a table level constraint on two columns SNO, comma S name. If you don't want this constraint, you can drop this constraint with the help of the constraint name u underscore stud. Otherwise, it's not possible to drop the constraint on the column. If you don't want, you can simply remove total columns. Okay. 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 Let's see the practical session of not null and unique constraint. Okay, just see this example. Here created one table student with fields roll number, not null, S name, varchar of 10, 20, not null, unique. Okay, and coming to this phone number, character of 10, constraint, UPH, unique phone number. Okay, here we create the not null constraint, unique constraint, not null constraint for two columns, and unique constraint at unique constraint on S name at the column level, and phone number at table level. Okay, just you observe this syntax. So and then when you see the description of student, it shows like this. If you create a not null constraint and also not null, only not null constraint will be not null constraint visible to us in description command. No other constraints are displayed. Okay, just see this difference. See the just remember this point. Okay. Okay. Now I am trying to enter values in this table. Okay. Just observe. Enter value for number. So not null. I don't want to insert any value in that column. Okay. Just simply press enter. And S name varchar 2 not null unique. So Sairam, I want to insert one value. Okay. And next one cell unique constraint. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now just see this. Cannot insert null into student dot roll number. Okay. So if you apply constraints on the table. It does not, if constraint violates, it does not accept to allow values into that particular column. Okay, that means it restricts the data entry into wrong data entries into that particular column in that table. Okay, that's why it ensures the correctness of data, accuracy of data, and integrity of data. Okay. Okay. Now I want to insert uh, data 10 Sairam and cell number. Okay, just one row created. Okay. Now I want to create another record, serial number. Only we apply a unique constraint in how many columns? Its name and okay, phone number. Okay, okay. Okay. 11 Sairam. I want to enter again the Sairam name into the name column. Actually, in name constraint, we apply two constraints, not null and unique. Just see what will happen. Okay. It shows unique constraint violated. Okay. So if you don't want, if you don't want provide, if you didn't provide a constraint name with the constraint, the system provides one constraint name. Okay, so this is the syst underscore 0007110. It's a constraint name. Okay, created by the Oracle. So it shows the unique constraint violated. Okay, this is how you are using the not null constraint and unique constraint. Okay. Coming to the primary key constraint. So primary key constraint is composed of primary key. What is primary key? Primary key is a combination of not null and unique constraints. Okay, it does not accept null values and does not accept repeated values in that particular column. And the primary key column is composed of a single column or multiple columns, combination of columns that are used to identify each and every row uniquely. Okay, so in relational data model, what is the first characteristic of a table is every table should have a primary key. So that primary key is used to identify each and every record, and also it ensures data integrity, entity integrity of the table. Okay, so what is the entity integrity? Entity integrity means the primary key does not accept null values and also repeated values. Okay. Uh, and one more thing is you should remember every table should have a primary key and every table should have only one primary key which is composed of single column or group of columns. Okay, but it does not have more primary columns on the table. Okay, why? Because especially the primary columns purpose is to identify each and every record uniquely. Okay, now. Okay, so when you composed a primary key with more columns, that key is known as composite primary key. It's very important. Okay. Coming to primary key constraint. So primary key constraint, when you create a primary key constraint for a table, automatically database engine creates a unique index for that primary key column. Okay. So when you retrieve the data, when you search for data or when you put a request for the data, then Oracle Oracle automatically uses index values to search that record and retrieve that record to us. Okay. So, okay. And one more thing you must remember is primary key column cannot contain more than 32 columns. Okay. So that means a composite primary key composed with the up to 32 columns. So, but not more than 32 columns. Okay. So just see this how you create primary key constraint at column level and table level. Okay, just see this, follow this syntaxes. So for every concept, there must be syntaxes. Just follow thoroughly and practice accordingly by your own. Okay. So create table, table name, column name 1, data type of size, primary key, column name 2, data type, size, unique, of course, comma, not null, whatever constraints, whatever other constraints you want to apply on other columns, you can apply. Okay, but every table should have only one primary key, which is composed of single column or multiple columns. Okay. Then create a table, just syntax at table level. Just go through this table level, create table, table name, column name 1, data type size, column name 2, data type of size, not null. Okay, after end of all column specifications, just you need to mention the constraint name, primary, space, key. Okay, there must be space between the not and null, also space between the primary and key also. Okay, primary, key, and you can write the columns. How many columns? On how many columns you want to apply the primary key? Those number of columns you can write here. The column 1, comma column 2, so on. Okay. Okay, just see this example how we are creating the constraints with the at the column level and the table level. In table level, two types, with constraint name, without constraint name. Okay, create a table, students, serial number, number of 3, primary key. Okay, here the primary key means it doesn't accept null values in the serial number column, and also it doesn't accept unique value, repeated values. Okay, and s name, not null, dob, data. Okay, just see this. Okay, so without constraint name, you can create at the table level also. Okay, at the end of all column specification, you can write the primary key of serial number. Okay, and just see this. Okay, with the constraint name, after specification of all columns, in the create command, just you write the constraint pk underscore student id. Of course, whatever name you want, you can apply. But one thing you remember. Okay, so unique constraint names are also unique. Okay, so you cannot give same constraint already created constraint name to other constraints. Okay, just observe, just remember this thing in your mind. Constraint, so pk underscore student id, primary key of sn row. Okay, so for single column also you can create table level constraints. You can create those constraints at table level. Okay, this is how we are creating the primary key constraint at column level and table level. Okay. Coming to the composite primary key. So primary key, if the primary key is composed of more columns, okay, then it is called as composite primary key. Okay. Okay. So just see this syntax. Create table, table name. Okay. Just go through this example. Okay. After specification of all columns, constraint pk underscore student id, primary key of snbo comma class. Okay, just I used to create a primary key on two columns here. One is serial number comma class. Okay. Okay, this is how we are creating the composite primary key at table level. Okay, coming to add primary key constraint. So after creation of table, if you want to add primary key to the column, then you can use alter table constraint command. Alter table, table name, add constraint name, primary key, column 1, column 2, column n. Okay, just see this. Okay, for example, on serial number column, just you forget to apply primary key constraint on serial number column while creating. So after creation of table, you want to add primary key constraint on serial number. Just you can write like this: alter table students add primary key serial number. Okay. In with this also you can create a constraint on column without constraint name. Okay, so this is without constraint name, this is with constraint name. So alter table students add constraint pk underscore student id primary key snO comma class. Okay, and if you want to drop that constraint name, this constraint name uh, can be very useful. So without this name, with this name only you can drop constraint just like this: alter table students drop constraint pk underscore student id. Okay. Okay, coming to the foreign key constraint. Foreign key constraint. So foreign key constraint is nothing but it's a foreign key. Foreign key is a column, is composed of a single column or multiple columns that are used to establish a link between two tables. Okay. In order to create an association between two tables, we used the concept of primary key and foreign key. Okay. So foreign key is a single column are composed of multiple columns that refers to the primary key in another table. Okay, it's also called as reference key. Why? Because it refers only its corresponding primary key values. It does not accept to allow other values except primary key values in that column. Okay, and the table which contains the primary key is called as parent table. The table which contains its corresponding foreign key is called as child table. Okay, child table. So one more thing is one most important thing about the primary key constraint is primary key constraint prevents or restricts invalid data from being inserted into the foreign key column. Okay, just it restricted the wrong entries into the table. Okay, why? Because it's only allows to insert its corresponding primary key column values, but are null values, but it does not accept other than primary key values and not null values in that particular foreign key column. Okay, it's very important. Just see this. Have we are creating the foreign key constraint at column level and also table level. Okay, create table name. Okay, so column, data type, size and references we are using here. In column level constraint, just we are using the keyword references. Then you have to mention the parent table. So what is the parent table? The corresponding primary key table is known as parent table. So parent table of primary key column, that corresponding primary key column. Okay, comma column name to data type or size. Okay. Okay. And one more thing you should remember, for every foreign key, their corresponding primary key may be in another table or in the same table also. Okay, just you remember that thing. Okay, in same table's primary key, in same table also you can create foreign key. Okay, so what just remember this point clearly. And syntax at table level, create table, table name, column name 1, data type size, column name 2, data type size. Okay, after all that, we can create constraint with the constraint foreign key, constraint with constraint name, foreign key. Okay, there should be a space between foreign and key also, like primary and key and not and null. Okay, like that. Okay, and you can write the columns, column 1 comma column 2. Okay, if the corresponding primary key is composed of single column, then you can write only single column in the foreign key. Okay, if you have more columns, if primary key is composed of more columns, then you can write those columns in foreign key. Okay. Okay, next, references, parent table of primary key column, then on delete cascade, on update cascade, on delete set null. Okay, just see this syntax. In this syntax, what we have, already we know that references, parent table. Parent table means its corresponding primary key table name and primary key column name, on delete cascade. Okay. Already we know that the primary key and foreign key column are used to establish a link between two tables. Those tables are, one is parent table and next one is child table. Okay. So on delete cascade means when a row in the parent table is deleted, automatically the dependent rows in the child table will also be deleted. Okay. So for that purpose, we used the option on delete cascade. And coming to on update cascade. If it updates okay, it updates foreign key values automatically if corresponding primary key values are updated. Okay, and on delete set null, that means if the parent values are removed, automatically the foreign key values are set to be null instead of uh, remove the record, instead of delete the record. Okay, that is called as on delete set null. These options are very important. Why? Because when you have a foreign key to the corresponding primary key, if you want to delete the entries in the primary key, it does not allow when you have foreign key references for the primary key table. Okay. So coming to example, here we create two tables. One is customer table and next one is order table. So what is the relation between them? The customer table, the customer. One customer may orders many orders. Okay. And each order is belongs to one customer. Of course, so many orders belongs to the customers also. Okay, there must be a relation between the customer table and order table. So in customer table, customer number is the primary key. Okay, and customer number, customer name, age, address, salary. And coming to the orders table. So orders table, what we have: order number, order date, customer number, amount. Okay, here the order number not null, order date not null. Of course, no need to create not null constraint on order number and order date. Why? Because we can set primary key, composite primary key on these columns. That's why no need to mention again not null constraint on these columns here. And coming to C number, that means customer number, number 3, which references this table. That's why it's a column level constraint. We are creating here. So that's why you are writing after the column specification. We can write references. What is the parent table? Customers. And what is the primary key column? C number. Okay, that's why you used to write like this. And amount number 7, 2, primary key of order number, order date. Order number, order date. Okay. So foreign key constraint at table level, just you observe. Students, just to follow all these syntaxes and examples and practice yourself also. Then only you can understand. Okay. So orders table, create table orders, order number, order date, C number, amount. Just I use it to here. Okay, we can create those constraints as table level. So without the constraint name, just we create the primary key of order number, order date. Okay, if you want, you can create constraint and constraint name along with this also. Okay, next constraint fk underscore person order. Okay, it's a constraint name, and foreign key of C number. Okay, so on which column? It's a foreign key column. References, which table it references? Customer table of which column? C and O. Okay, just you observe. Okay, so for foreign key also, if you want, you can add foreign key constraint after table creation with the syntax, with the command alter table name, add constraint name, foreign key of foreign key column name, references, primary key column of primary key table name of primary key column name. Okay, just you observe. Alter table orders, add foreign key of which on which column? C number, references of which table? Customers of primary key column C number. Okay, so this is creating constraint, adding constraint with the constraint name. So alter table orders, add constraint fk underscore person order, primary key C number, references, customers of C number. Okay, so if you want to drop that constraint, okay, with the help of the constraint name, what is the constraint name here? Fk underscore person under. Okay, with the help of this name, you can drop the constraint, foreign key constraint on C number column. Okay, so alter table orders, drop constraint fk underscore person order. Okay. Okay, let me explain practical explanation of primary key and foreign key. Okay. Now I want to create one table here, department DEPTCRR. Okay, so in this department number of number 2 primary key, dname varchar2 of 20 not null. I used to create constraints at table level, at column level in this example. Okay. So table created. Just see this description. DEPT CRR. Okay. So I want to insert some values also in this. Next. Okay. Okay, now I want to create another table department CRR1 with on at the table level. Primary key can be created at the table level. Just see this example. Department number, T name, if not null, constraint name pk underscore d, primary key of department number. Just see this description. Okay. If you create a primary key constraint, it also shows not null in the description. Okay. If you don't want, you can drop this constraint, alter table name DEPT CRR1. Okay. Drop constraint. What is the constraint name here? pk underscore d. By using this name, you don't want the constraint on particular column, just you drop this constraint. Okay. Then just see this description. Okay. Oh, sorry. Description CRR1. Okay. So before, with the constraint, it shows in description not null, but here not null is not here. Okay, that means that constraint deleted on DEPT number. Okay. Then I want to insert DEPT data into the DEPT CRR table. Department number 10, name. Okay. So I want to create another table. If you want to try to create with the same department number, it does not allows. Yes. Unique constraint violated. Okay. For primary key also, primary key is nothing but not null and unique. That's why you want to if you are trying to enter the repeated value in the primary key column, it shows the unique constraint violated. Okay. Just see in the next entry. I don't want to enter a value in D number. Okay. Okay. So what it shows? It shows cannot insert not null value into department number. Why? Because the department number is a primary key. It does not accept not null values and null values and also repeated values. Okay. Okay. 20 Sharad. Okay. So select start from CRR. Yeah. DEPT CR. Okay. So it shows how many entries? 2 entries. Okay. Next, I want to create EMP table. So that EMP table, Okay, just see this EMP table. Actually, department and employee, those are related tables. In department table, department number is primary key. In employee table, employee number is primary key, and also department number is foreign key to the primary key table department. Okay, so employee number, number 2 of primary key, name, comma, department number, number of 2, references, DEPTCRR, department number. Just see this commands. Just observe these commands. Okay. Here the primary key column, what I am trying to say is the primary key column and foreign key column. So what is the primary key column here in department CR, department number? It contains the number of 2 as specifications. Okay. So here also department number, it's a foreign key. It also contains the number of 2 as a specifications. What I mean to say is the primary key and foreign key column should have the same specifications but need not to have the same names. Okay. It's the point what I want to say is, okay. Okay. So now I want to create this table. So department number 2, references. So which table it references? Department CRR of which primary key column? Department number. Okay. So table created. I want to insert data into this table. Control C. Number 1. Name. And 10. One row created. I want to create another record. Number 1. Again 1. Department number 10. Again, that is shows unique constraint violated. Why? Because in EMP CRR, employee number is a primary key column. It does not accept repeated values and also not null values. Okay. Then let me check another record. 2 Aruna and department number 30. Just see this. Integrity constraint violated. It shows the parent key not found. Okay. So why? Because in EMP table, department table, we have only 2 entries with the department numbers 10 and 20. But I am trying to enter another value in this foreign key column, department number, in the EMP CRR table. Then it shows integrity constraint violated, parent key not found. Okay. This is how we are executing the primary key constraint and foreign key constraint. Okay. Now, coming to the check constraint. So check constraint is used to restrict the entry of data into that particular column. That means limit the value range that can be placed into the column. Okay. The check constraint also applied on single column and also single column or multiple columns. Okay. So check constraint is applied on single column, and just see the syntax. Create table, table name, column name, data type, size, not null, check condition, check and condition. Okay. Column name to data type of size, check condition. Okay. At the table level, after all specifications of column names, used to write the check constraint name, check conditions on that particular column. Okay. Okay. Just see this syntax at column level. Create table customers, see number, see name, age, address and salary. Okay. So here age not null and I want to apply check condition. That means age greater than or equal to 80. Okay. So that means only greater than 18 values are to be allowed in the age column. Less than 18 values are not allowed into the age column. Okay. So it's table level. Okay. So just see this. Table level, you can write as usual constraint name, check. I want to put here the check constraint on two columns here. One is age greater than or equal to 18 and sal between 5,000 and 50,000. Okay, so I just we apply the check constraint on two columns. One is age should be greater than or equal to 18 and the salary between 5,000 and 50,000. Okay. So if you want to add a check constraint by using the all as usual, how we are adding other constraints like primary key, foreign key, okay, unique constraint. Likewise, check constraints also added to the already existing column by using alter table table add constraint command. Alter table customers add check age greater than or equal to 18. Okay. If you are creating the constraint with the constraint name, then you go through the column level constraint, table level constraint, or add, alter, table name, add constraint name, check age greater than or equal to 18 and sal between 5,000 and 50,000. Okay. If you want to drop the check constraint, just by using this constraint name, you can drop. Okay, alter table customers, drop constraint, check person age. Okay, it's a constraint name. Okay, coming to the last constraint, default constraint. Default constraint. So default constraint means next to default constraint. The default constraint is used to provide a default value for column. That means the default value will be added to all the records if no other value is specified. Okay, it's very important advantage, useful constraint, default constraint. Okay, so just see this syntax: create table name, column, data type of size, primary key, column name 2, data type of size, and next you have to write the default and you have to provide the default value in between the enclosed in between the single quotes. Okay. Okay. So just see the syntax. I want to create here the college table with ID number 4, primary key, name varchar2 of 50 and university varchar2 of 20. By default, what is our university? AKNU. Okay, and the current date data type default sys date. Okay, we can also insert today's date. Sysdate returns today's date with the help of sysdate function here. Okay, so see this, the default constraint can also be used to insert system date values by using the function sysdate. Okay, you can write At the default constraint, you can write just sysdate. Then you can it inserts our system's date into this column. Okay, let me see this example first. Okay, just I created a college table with ID and name, university, by default value AKNU, the current date default sysdate. Okay, this table created. So just I want to insert values. Okay, if you providing those values to the default columns also, your given value is to be stored. Okay, one SS name, university, and today's date. Just I have given some values. Okay, one row created. Now I want to insert only two values. I don't want to insert current date and also university. Okay, then I used to write the insert syntax like this: insert into college ID comma name values ampersand ID ampersand name. Just you observe. Okay, so value for ID is 667 and value for name CR or college. Okay, so then one row created. Just see this records. Okay, select start from college. Okay, here just we have given two values, ID and a name. By default it inserted AKNU and the current date is today's date. Okay, let me show practically now. Okay, college ID 330, name CR or college for Roman. Only I want to enter these two values. One row created. Now I want to show the records. Yes, just see this 330 CR or college for Roman. By default, if you are not providing any value to these columns, default values are to be inserted. AKNU 15 February 21. Okay, like that. Okay, so let me explain the check constraint. Alter table name, add. I want to add check constraint to the existing table college. Alter table college, add constraint name ch underscore co. Okay, add constraint ch underscore id, check id greater than 100, 300. Okay, just I want to put one check constraint on the column ID. Okay, in college table. Okay, I think this constraint already created. Oh, okay. Already in ID number, what we the data, what we have data in ID number 1 and 667 and 1. It's greater than less than 330. That's why it cannot add constraint. So I want to change this constraint. ID between 1 and 1000. Okay, already we have in ID column 1. Okay, that's why this check constraint is violated. That's why happen like that. Okay, now table altered. Now I want to insert values. Okay, so ID 1001 and name here. Okay, then check constraint violated. Okay, now I want to insert 600 name, one row created. So select yes, just say this. How many records we have inserted? 4 records. Okay, this is how the check constraint works. Of course, when you creating a table, you can also create the check constraint. Okay. So set default using alter table command. Just see this, alter table, table name, modify, university, default, Andhra. Okay. If you want to drop the default constraint from the table, just use this syntax: alter table, table name, alter column, column name, drop default. Okay. Any questions, students? Students, just follow these concepts very carefully and write down your own examples and do practice. Then only you can understand. Here I provided for all syntaxes for all types of constraints at all levels. Okay, just go through this examples and do practice. If you have any doubts, just ask me, contact me immediately. Okay, thank you.